Hi everyone. Today I will be sharing with you the concept of honoring mother and father and a journey to honoring mother and father by a little girl um, in the sessions. All right. But before we do that, let me share with you the objective for this discussion. First is to provide insight how to address emotional hurts from childhood trauma or wounding. Second, to integrate difficult experiences in one's personal journey towards healing and maturity, because if there is no healing, there is no maturity. Third is to create healthy relationship among family members as one of the foundations to a healthy self and total well-being. Okay, so let's take a look at this case in point. The little girl who has experienced rejection from his father. So Trisha is the middle child among the brood of 7 children. She idolized her older sister, who is a consistent academic achiever in school. She noted how proud their parents were, most especially their father, who was all smile as friends and relatives visit and offer their congratulations. This left a deep impression on her. So for Trisha, who was just turning 7 years old then, and was about to enter grade school in the coming year, excelling in school and earning special recognition was the way to earn their parents' love and approval. But she was most especially inspired by the idea of earning her father's smile. Gusto niya lang mapasaya at makitang humiti ang kanyang tatay sa kanya. To her, it meant something worth celebrating. With that goal in mind, she entered school and studied very hard. Her efforts paid off. At the end of the school year, she earned her first award. She was so proud of herself and went home quietly that afternoon to surprise her parents, right? Trisha imagined the joy, the laughter, the smile that the good news would bring to her parents when she proudly present them the certificate of honor she got. This will be a cause for celebration. She can already imagine her mother preparing a special meal for the whole family to recognize her accomplishment. Relatives and friends will be there too, and of course, Papa will be all smile. When she reached their house, it was so quiet. No one was there at that moment except her father was doing some work in the kitchen. She felt nervous and excited at the same time as she mustered enough strength to break the good news to her father. It felt like she was standing before an audience of one, her father, her hero. She took a deep breath, and at the count of three, she almost whisperingly said to her father, Papa, Pa, may ipapakita ako sa iyo. May honor po ako. The father turned his head, and stared at her holding the certificate with both hands. She was waiting for her father to smile back at that point, but he didn't. He just gave her a stern look and said, "Tutuin mo. Cook it." She can't believe her ears. Here was her hero, who looked very upset as if he was interrupted in the middle of his work. Was he just tired? Or was her timing was wrong? She had no way of knowing. He simply ignored her and continued working while Trisha stood still in a corner, shocked and confused at the cold treatment. She didn't cry, but deep inside, she promised herself and vowed that from that day onward, she would never ever let her father know or have any part on whatever achievement she might gain in the future. So that's the vow. And that particular experience caused Trisha serious personal issues, which affected her work and marriage in adult years. She tends to have problem with the authority, distrustful of men, inability to interact with men, becoming combative or defensive, can keep a job with positive disposition, and fear of submitting with authority. So yun po yung resulta nung kanyang experience, no, nung kanyang trauma. and because of the vow that she made for herself, so ito po yung kanyang mga restrictions, no? Ito yung kanyang mga naging limitations. All right. So what does it mean to honor? To honor means to be or make heavy, abounding in glory, noble or great. Sabihin, mabigat, no? Binibigyan mo ng halaga, binibigyan mo siya ng value, not just value but glory. So talagang itinataas mo siya. Okay? So to place high value or price upon, to receive, accept, consider valid and legitimate, to give a good report or to bless, to speak good things about the person. Okay? Right. So example of honoring, credit card. High value is placed on having credit cards in our society today, right? So to have your credit card accepted when making purchase, having your credit card accepted or honored means that your card was approved, valid, legit, or incomplete a legitimate purpose, no? Purchase. Having your card honored the same as cash payment is a blessing. Mahirap yata mahirap at nakakahiya yung nasa counter ka na, ang dami mong pinamili kasi akala mo madami ka pang credits, mataas yung value ng credit card mo, and then nung nagbibigay ka na hindi tinanggap. So ito po yung kabaliktaran. But how does one feel to have a credit card declined? Okay. So one does not feel honored when credit card is declined. Nakakahiya, di ba? To dishonor means is to make light. Make light of, to make light in weight. Parang sa tao po, tinatawaran mo yung kakayahan, tinatawaran natin yung pagkatao. We speak less of value about the person. No? So, ganun po. Loss of honor or respect or reputation, disgrace, to refuse, to reject, consider invalid or illegitimate. Halimbawa, sana hindi lang kayo naging magulang ko. Sana hindi lang kita kilala. Sana hindi niyo na ako pinanak sa mundo. To give bad report or curse. Say something again, person. To blame parents when they are not actually at fault. And these are example of dishonoring. On what basis do we honor? Number one, personhood or identity. So we honor because of one's personhood, pagkatao, or kanyang identity, no? Kaya nga sabi ng iba, maririnig siguro yan, gusto mong respetuhin ka, respetahon mo muna yung sarili mo. Kasi yung identity, mahalaga. And then yung personhood, dun sa kanyang pagkatao. Okay? And relationship, we honor because of our relationship with the person. Sa konteksto pong ito, parents, dahil sila ang parents ko, we honor them for just being our parents, no? Because that's our only relationship. They are only the only parents we have that we can relate with. And then position, we honor dahil sila ang nasa posisyon, not performance or behavior. So when we honor, hindi yung ginagawa ng tao, hindi yung ginagawa ng mga yung mabuting ginagawa nila or kaya yung hindi nila mabuting ginagawa. We honor them kasi sa kanilang posisyon, sa relasyon na meron sila sa kanila, at saka sa identity na meron sila. Dahil sila ang authority at dahil sila ang magulang. Sila ang nasa posisyon. Then performance or behavior must be separated from the identity, relationship, position, and authority of the person. Alright, so maliwanag po yan na hindi natin sinusukat ang pagbibigay natin ng honor sa ating mga magulang dahil lang sa kanilang ginagawa, dahil lang sa mga kakulangan nila, dahil sa mga hindi nila naibigay sa atin, dahil hindi nila nagampanan ang kanilang pagiging magulang. So hindi po yun ang basihan. We honor them because they are our parents. In the same way, we love our children simply because they are our children. So meron din na, and they don't have to perform for that to to gain acceptance and approval from the parents. They just have to be our parents. They just have to be our son and daughters. In the same way that our parents, they don't have to perform for us so that we can give them the honor. All right? So love the person, hate the wrongdoing. All right? Okay, medyo mahirap intindihin yung konseptong ito dahil hindi ito yung tinuturo in society. Okay? Hindi ito yung lagi nating maririnig at hindi rin ito yung nakikita nating ginagawa kalimitan. So reverse po, no? Okay. Then I'm talking to you as an adult already. So love the person, hate the wrongdoing. When the person and behavior are not separated, anong nangyayari? Kapag we expect the parents to perform for us, when we expect the parents to be the kind of parents, we are expecting them to be, ano po ang nangyayari? Yung mga anak, they tend to develop yung destructive behaviors. Number one, rebellion or being rebellious against parents. The fear of submission to authority. And when we talk about fear of submission to the authority, it's not just authority of the parents, but any given authority. Any given authority. It can be the boss in the workplace. It can be even to God, no? So yung fear of submission to God, fear of submission to the boss, and even to the leaders in the society, no? And even in the family, yung babae, si wife would have trouble submitting sa authority ng asawa. And of course, when that happens, si Mrs. will always demand equality. Instead of helping each other, she would demand for equality. No? Kasi ayaw niyang magpailalim sa leadership ng asawang lalaki. So ganun nangyayari, no? So correction received as rejection. So ito po yung nangyayari sa ego, no? When the ego is actually tainted or yung low self-esteem or ganun po yung nangyayari, nagiging personal, no? Yung correction will be received as rejection. So kaya minsan nagiging problema ang communication. As a result of that, even couples will have problems in communication simply because they cannot negotiate. No? Kasi kailangan panalo yung isa. Instead of negotiating, gusto nung isa, laging siya ang tama. So, hindi nagiging, hindi productive yung communication. And most of the time, ito po yung nagiging cause later ng patong-patong na problema, no? Until such time that the relationship itself become toxic. Okay? Na nagiging dahilan din ng paghihiwalay later on kung hindi po ito ay namamanage, na-negotiate in the process. So, wrong perception that honor comes from correct performance or behavior, not personhood. Okay, yung po bang kasabihan na bago kita respetuhin niyo muna ang sarili niyo. Yung ganon. Kung gusto nyong irespeto, kaya dapat respeto kayo. So ito po yung ibig sabihin number 3. That is wrong. That is a wrong perception na kailangan gawin muna ng isang tao bago mo ibigay yung honor. Kung hindi niya magagawa yon, para sa akin, para sa anak, then imposible nga maibigay din yung honor that is should be afforded to the parents. And pag ganun po ang kaisipan ng anak, hindi talaga mangyayari yun. Kasi ang parents, hindi po yun gagawin dahil yun ang hinihingan. Most of the time, hindi po ganun ang mag-isip ang mga magulang. Okay? Okay. Cycling of dishonoring in the family through generation. This is the cycle. Children who have dishonored by their parents will dishonor the parents. Kasi aanihin nila kung ano yung tinanim. So, hindi po ito naiiwasan, no? Usually, pagka kung ano ang nagawa ng magulang sa anak, yung anak, ganun din yung ibabalik sa magulang. Kahit ito mali pa rin ang ibubunga. Dahil mali ang naging pundasyon, yung bunga niyan, mali rin. Okay? So, reaping and sowing. Sowing and reaping. So children who have dishonored their parents will not honor their spouse or their own children. So ito na po, maliban sa parents, nag-asawa na siya, then another set of cycle, sa kanyang mga anak, hindi rin siya, mahihirapan din siyang i-honor kasi wala siya, hindi niya natutunan yung honoring. And because he did not have what it takes to honor his parents, babae man o lalaki, si wife man o si husband, he will have problem, also confused din siya how he would honor yung mga anak and even his husband or wife. So walang practice ng honoring, wala yung system ng honoring. So it's not there, no? Yung honoring is not learned, so he cannot pass it on. So other principle of increase, one person to marriage and family. Okay, so dishonoring within the family. Now the families to communities. Now we have the dishonoring communities, then communities to the towns and to the cities. So we have people, culture that is dishonoring, and then cities to states and nation. Then we have a nation that is dishonoring to the parents, to the leaders, and leaders dishonoring yung communities, yung societies, people in the societies. So nations to the world. So we have the global problem of dishonoring. Pag sinabing dishonoring, we cannot trust the leaders, no? Ng society, ng community, ng global community, and sila din ganun din, hindi rin napapahalagan yung mga tao. So we reap what we sow, no? Thus, need for healing the nation. Kaya nga sabi nitong after ng pandemic, we heal as one. Okay, so I hope so. Okay, sana nga po mangyari yon with the help of the mental health practitioners. Then wound judgment within the families also. First, children establish their own identity, sexuality, relationship, possession, and understanding authority from their father and mother. So yung mga anak, from formative years, they establish their own identity sa modeling ng nanay at saka ni tatay. Yung kanilang sexuality also comes from their nanay and tatay who has to orient them, have to tell them of their sexuality, kung babae o lalaki. Otherwise, if they allow them to, if they are allowed to choose for themselves, then that is permissive parenting. Relationship, possession, and understanding authority from their father and mother. So yung napakahalaga yung authority na dapat ma-demonstrate ng tama sa mga anak. Okay? So, but because of childhood trauma, abuse, rejection, or other forms of wounding, even grown adults, ano pong nangyayari, they don't know who they are. So, nagkakaroon ng problema sa identity, sa question ng who am I? So, hindi nasasagot yung who am I? Na supposedly na sagot na siya, no? So, now, there's confusion. Don't know their love just for who they are. They don't know because they didn't experience being loved by not performing for it, by not by not having to perform for it, by not having to ask for parents' approval, no? Hindi kasi pinapakiusap yun. It has to be bestowed to the children. Ano po ba? Don't know what it's like to belong because of rejection. Even yung mga bata, even children and grown-ups, they don't know what it's like to belong. So kaya kahit nasa communication, hindi nagko-connect pag nag-uusap, no? Kahit nag-uusap, walang connection. Nag-aaway-away. Magandang simulang usapan at bandang huli nag-aaway. Walang resolutions. Okay? And sometimes there are curse. Okay? Then, signs of disrespect also present. In order to honor our aging parents, we must treat them like adults. We treat them like children as if, number one, they cannot think for themselves. So, we must think for them. So, minsan nangyayari po ito pagka tumatanda na yung magulang, tinatrato ng parang bata. So, nagdidesisyon yung mga anak na even if the parents, the aging parents are very much capable to think for themselves, to decide for themselves. Halimbawa, ayaw kong maligo, ayaw maligo. Wag mo ng paliguan. Gusto niyang medyo maligamgam na tubig, o bigyan ng maligamgam na tubig. Gusto niyang sumama sa mall, gusto ko ito yung pagkain ko, let them be. Kasi they can decide, they still very much capable of deciding for themselves. Okay? They have no sense, so we must make choices for them. So minsan nga yung dahil matanda na, nababaliwala yung kanilang mga opinion, nababaliwala yung kanilang mga choices, nababaliwala yung kanyang mga ano sa loobin. And that should not be. They have to be heard. Okay? Kahit na medyo nabubulol-bulol magsalita, then you have to incline your ears and really listen. So that's yeah, excuse me. Then they can't handle responsibility, so we bear their burdens for them. So it's also dishonoring for parents na kaya pa naman nilang gawin para sa sarili nila, pero lahat ginagawa para sa kanila. Kahit na maganda ang intention ng mga anak, hindi na mapagod, pero for them, kahit yung simpleng pagsuklay ng buhok, pagpalit ng damit, paghugas ng plato, if they can actually do that for themselves, let them do. Kasi they already struggle with sense of independence. Kasi yun na nga yung nawawala eh. And the little things that they can do for themselves, malaking bagay po yun sa halaga na meron sila sa sarili nila. Okay? Kasi wala talagang tao na gusto nilang maging pabigat. Okay, so that's one principle there. They can face reality, so we protect them and don't hold them accountable. Ito yung mga parents na ang mga anak, ang paningin, kahit na mali ang ginagawa ng magulang, nagkamali, ang ginagawa ng mga anak, pinagtatanggol, pinagtatakpan. Hayaan mo silang harapin kung ano yung nagawa nila. Hayaan nila na ipaliwanag din sila. Okay? Sa paraan na hindi dishonoring. Of course, they have the reason behind their actions. So, pakinggan lang. Hindi naman kailangan awayin. Pero kapakinggan. So, do unto others principle, and that is to love mom and dad, is to treat them as I want to be treated. I am adult. I really don't want people to tie themselves in emotional knots to shield me from the pain of change or force them to take up the consequences of my own problems. I want those I love to share my burdens, not carry them for me. I don't want to be spoiled. I won't do that to my parents if I choose to honor them. So yun yung mga gusto ng mga tumatanda. No? Gusto pa rin nilang may sense of independence. Hanggat kaya nila. Okay. Truth is, unless our parents are afflicted with debilitating disease or senility, they are responsible for this. Okay? Hanggat daw ang aging parents ay hindi pa naman siya talaga ulianin, hindi pa naman niya nakakalimutan ng mga bagay-bagay, lahat. Nakausap ang maayos, and yung wala pa naman talagang sakit, yung seryoso. Then, their thoughts and attitudes, sila po ang responsable noon. Also, their choices, their responsibilities and burdens, sila rin po ang responsable noon. Then, their speech, deception, denials, blames, martyrdom, or tempers. So, hayaan po natin sila na sila ang maging accountable sa kanilang mga choices, maging responsible. Of course, even during this stage na aging na mga parents, meron din pa rin po yung nagagawang, meron pa rin nakakagawa ng hindi tama sa moral standard. Ito yung mga time na halimbawa, yung mga kabataan nila, nagiging irresponsible sa mata ng bata. Ngayon matanda na sila at nakadepende na sa mga anak na ngayon adult na rin. Minsan po may mga anak na binabawian ang matatanda. And that is true. That is true. Kasi makikita nyo po yan sa TV, So, may mga balita kung paano nila binalikan ang mga parents at inabuso din nila ang mga parents nila. Dahil para silang bata na inaabuso din. Katulad ng ginawa nila sa kanila nung medyo malakas pa mga parents. Pero dito po sa principle na ito, hindi po kailangan gawin 'yun ng anak. Hindi kailangan gawin ng anak ang ginawa na hindi maganda ng mga parents sa kanila while growing up. Okay? Parents are responsible for their own mistakes and they will be accountable for that, but not their grown children. Okay? So, hindi kailangan bawian ng parents. They are adults and fully accountable uh, for their lives. Okay? So, balik po tayo sa sa kwento ni Trisha. So, here's Trisha's story. An invitation to parents. So, nung na-reject siya, nagtampo siya, so nagkaroon ng problema. Ito na po ang nangyari in her late 30s, no? So that happens in her childhood. Now that in late 30s, Trisha was made aware of the consequences of the childhood vow she made concerning her father. She recognized that wounded part of her that needed to be healed. She realized that part of herself remained hurt and rejected. Rejected child that longed to be loved and cherished by a father. The child needs to be released from her traumatic memories and grow up. She made a special efforts to be reconnected to her father. So one time, she invited her parents for a short vacation in Manila and gave them special treatment as guests in her house. She purposely cooked for them and made them feel comfortable and relaxed. Took them out for short walks, conversed with them a lot. Everything felt different now that they are advanced in years and she's now a caring adult. So much has changed, but some things remain to be changed. Forgiveness. And so, at one point, during Trisha's bonding moments with her father, she got to ask him about his parents. Okay? Papa, what was the worst thing you remember about your parents? She asked. Almost instantly and without hesitation, he replied, when I came home with an award from school, my father told me to cook the certificate. So I did not get to finish my study. Trisha was surprised at this disclosure. She said, those were the exact words you said to me, Papa. But how can you say that when you yourself know how hurtful it can be coming from a father? Then the father looked shocked and speechless. Trisha realized that she can choose to hold on to the grudge or set herself free from bitterness by choosing to forgive. She chose to latter, remembering the words of Jesus, forgive them for they do not know what they are doing. She forgave her father even when the father did not ask for it. So, excuse me. So the conversation that Trisha had with her parents became a turning point, a healing moment that paved the way towards honoring a parent. A significant shift in the relationship has occurred. As a daughter, Trisha had all the right to expect, even demand of her parents to be loving, caring, and attentive to their children. And in her eyes, they failed miserably. Now, instead of focusing on unmet expectations, blaming the parents for their failures, and even becoming embittered towards them, Trisha decided to focus on becoming a good daughter to her parents, especially to her father. It was a decision simply born out of the fact that despite of everything, he is still her father. It paid off because now the smile of her father was on her. One does not have a choice about who one's parents would be or what kind of a parent they would be, but one can choose what kind of a son or daughter one becomes. So nakita niyo po, no? We cannot choose who would be our parents. We cannot change our parents. No? It's not within our control. But what we do have is the choice of becoming a good daughter, a good sons and daughters. And that is our choice. So yung end ng story, Trisha still, got the father smile. All right, so to forgive is the highest, most beautiful form of love. In return, you will receive untold peace and happiness. That is from Robert Mueller. This only means na the highest degree we can earn in life is actually the lesson of forgiveness. So, sabi po ng isang author, the highest degree that you can achieve in life is learn how to forgive. Because forgiving is not really for the weak, it's for the brave. Okay? Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, nor does it mean that you've given the message that what someone did was okay. It just means that you've let go of the anger or guilt towards someone else or towards yourself. When you hold resentment toward another, you are bound to that person or condition by an emotional link that is stronger than steel. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and get there. That's from Catherine Ponder. So before I end, I'd like to emphasize this, yung idea po ng sowing and reaping. Kung ano yung ginawa natin as parents, and there was no intervention or forgiveness, no healing. As long as the person is bittered in anger, the same behavior will be passed on to the next generation. Okay? Kaya po kung anong ginawa ng magulang sa anak, ang consequence po noon, yung anak, ganun din yung gagawin sa magulang. And to break that cycle, one really has to recognize yung rebellious attitude, bad behavior, and the mistake committed, so that either the parents or the child could forgive each other. Better po kapag parents are actually into it. They ask forgiveness. Some parents do that. Some parents don't. And they wouldn't even admit. But even if they don't admit nor see their own mistakes, as sons and daughters, do your part, because that is for your future sake. Okay. So let me end with this word of wisdom. Honor your father and mother as the Lord your God has commanded you, that you may live long, and that it may go well with you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. So this is a promise na when we learn to honor our mother and father, our parents, kahit sa trabaho, kahit sa pag-asawa, kahit mag-abroad ka, kahit magnegosyo ka, you will be honored. And that honor that you give to the one who if to the one who deserve it, those who does not deserve it, it will come back to you. Okay? So that's the end of our discussion. Thank you very much and God bless.